Welcome to Tutors. So, we are going to continue with the next video on plant kingdom. In the previous video, we learned about the divisions of kingdom Plantae and about division Thallophyta in detail. So, today we are going to cover division Bryophyta and division Pteridophyta in detail. So, let us start. Division Bryophyta. The division Bryophyta mainly includes the mosses and the liverworts. Now, these mosses and liverworts are commonly found growing on the moist, shaded areas of hills. They are called the amphibians of plant kingdom. Why? Because like amphibians, they can live on soil, but they require water for their reproduction. That is sexual reproduction, just like amphibians. For example, a frog. A frog, it can live on land, but for its reproduction, it requires water. So, to say about their habitat, they can live in damp, humid, and shaded localities. Their plant body or structure, it is thallus-like and prostrate or erect, and it is attached to the substratum by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. Rhizoids like roots. Now, they do not consist of exactly a root, stem, leaf. They consist of root-like, leaf-like, stem-like structures. Now the main plant body is haploid and it is called a gametophyte. Why are they called gametophyte? Because they produce the gametes and these gametes will be haploid. Now when two haploid gametes will combine, they will form a diploid sporophyte. You had to remember two haploid gametes combine to form a diploid sporophyte. Just like a sperm and an egg, they combine to form the zygote with the by and they restore the correct number of chromosomes, like in case of humans 23 chromosomes of sperm and 23 chromosomes from egg, they combine together and it again results in 46 number of chromosomes in the zygote. So it's just like that. Gametophyte will be haploid and sporophyte will be diploid. Gametophyte will produce gametophyte will produce gametes and sporophyte will produce spore. So the male sex organ is called antheridium and it produces the biflagellate antherozoids. These antherozoids are the sperm-like structures. They are biflagellate. The female sex organ is called archegonium and it is flask shaped and it bears a single egg. Remember, a single egg. Now then what happens? The antherozoids, they combine with this egg. It results in the formation of a zygote. Now this zygote, instead of directly undergoing reduction division to form the gametophyte, what happens is that they form a sporophyte. The zygote forms a sporophyte. But the sporophyte is not a independent structures. It is still attached to that gametophyte. Okay, it forms an attached gametophyte so that it can derive nourishment from it. And some cells of the sporophyte, they undergo reduction division or meiosis to form spores. Now these spores, they germinate to form the gametophyte again. Now to say about the economic importance, they are generally of less economic importance, but they provide food for some herbaceous animals, birds and some other animals. And an important moss is sphagnum. What is sphagnum? Produces peat that have been used as a fuel and as a packing material for transshipment of living material because of their capacity to hold water. And mosses and lichens are of great ecological importance. Why? Because they are the first organisms that colonize the bare rocks and they decompose those rocks and make them suitable for growth. And they also prevent soil erosion, like mosses form dense mat on the soil, so they reduce the impact of the falling rain and so it reduces the soil erosion. Now we can classify the bryophytes into two. First one is the liverworts and second one is the mosses. So let us study. Now this is a picture of sphagnum that is used to provide peat. So let us start with liverworts. Liverworts, their habitat is As before, moist, shady areas such as bank of streams, marshy ground, damp soil, etc. Now the plant body is thalloid, and the example we had to study is Markantia. To say about the structure, the thallus is dorsiventral and is closely attached to the substrate. The thallus is just like a leaf that is attached to the substrate. So the thallus is dorsiventral. And the asexual reproduction in liverworts is by fragmentation or a very special structure that is called gemmi. What are gemmi? Gemmi are green multicellular asexual buds that develop in small receptacles called gemma cups that are located on the thalli. Once again, the thallus consists of gemma cups, and these gemma cups bear these green multicellular asexual buds called gemma. So what happens is that these gemmae can become detached from this parent individual, and when it falls on the soil, it can again grow into a new individual. It's just like a spore. Sexual reproduction is by the male and female sex organs that are produced on the same or different thallus. So, the sporophyte that is produced after the combination of the male and female gamete, it is differentiated into three parts: a foot, a seta, and a capsule. We will see it in the picture. Now, inside the capsule, the spores are produced, and these spores will germinate to form the gametophytes. Here you have to understand that the gametophytes are free living, but the sporophytes are not free living. They are attached to the gametophyte. They depend on the gametophyte for their food. So this is a picture of Markantia. The first one is the female thallus and the second one is male thallus. You can see those gemma cups that are present there. They produce the gemma, and the gemma can give rise to the new thallus. Otherwise, we have the sexual organs archegoniophore and anthridiophore, which produce the egg, and the antherozoids. They can combine to form the zygote, and the zygote again forms the sporophyte. The sporophyte produces the spores, and which give again rise to this gametophyte. Next we have the mosses. The mosses, the predominant stage of their life cycle is the gametophyte stage, which is again divided into two stages. The first one is protonema. Protonema, it directly, first the spore, it develops to form the protonema. A protonema is a creeping, green, branched, frequently filamentous stage. The second stage is a leafy stage. The leafy stage develops from the secondary protonema. So you can understand the spore, it develops to form the protonema, and after the protonema, it develops the leafy stage. Now this leafy stage consists of upright, slender axis bearing the spirally arranged leaves. An axis consisting of spirally arranged leaves, and they're attached to the soil via the multicellular and branch rhizoids, and this is the stage that bears the sex organs. Okay, the leafy stage bears the sex organs. The vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation or budding in the secondary protonema. Sexual reproduction is again via the same cycle, antheridia and archegonia. Okay, these antheridia and archegonia produced at the apex of the leafy shoots, and after fertilization, the zygote develops into a sporophyte, again consisting of a foot, seta and capsule. But the thing here is that the sporophyte in mosses is more elaborate than that of liverworts. It is more developed compared to the liverworts. Now the capsule contains spores. The spores, after undergoing meiosis, they again form the gametophyte. Now these mosses also have an elaborate mechanism of spore dispersal. Examples are Funaria, Polytrichum and Sphagnum. Remember, Sphagnum produces peat. So this is a picture of Funaria. You can see that it has a gametophyte and a sporophyte stage. Now, the sporophyte is not an independent structure. The gametophyte consists of branched rhizoids and also the leaves. You can see those spirally arranged leaves. And sporophyte, it consists of a foot, seta and a capsule. Now, the capsule consisting of spores. The spores on germination, they form the gametophyte again. So let us see the life cycle of this bryophyta once again. Let us start from those gametophytes that are present below. Now you see there are the male gamete and the female gamete. Now it consists of an archegonial head and an antheridial head. So they produce the antherozoids and the egg, and it undergo fertilization. The fertilization produces a zygote. The zygote consists of sporophyte, that is consisting of the food seta capsule, and then the capsule disperses the spores. The spores again on germination it produces the young gametophyte. So you can see this entire life cycle is divided into a haploid part and a diploid part. The diploid part consisting of from the zygote and the sporophyte. The spores that are produced will be haploid. Okay. So we have completed division bryophyta, and now we are going to the division pteridophyta. So the pteridophyta includes the horsetails and the ferns. They are used for medicinal purpose and as soil binders, and sometimes they are grown as ornamentals. To say about their habitat, they are found in the cool, damp and shady areas. The main plant body is a sporophyte. So this is the main point of difference between a bryophyte and a pteridophyte. In bryophyte, the main plant body is of a gametophyte, whereas in pteridophyta, the main plant body is of a sporophyte. Now also they consist of well differentiated vascular tissue. Vascular tissues are xylem and phloem that helps in the transport of water and the food. So these are not present in the thallophyta or bryophyta. It is starting from the pteridophyta, the presence of those vascular tissue. And they also consist of true root, stem and leaves. So the leaves in these sporophytes, they may be small, and so they are called microphylls, like in Selaginella, or macrophylls in ferns. Now to say these sporophytes. The sporophytes, they consist of leaf-like structures called sporophyll. The sporophyll consists of structures called sporangium. These sporangium consist of like spore mother cells. These spore mother cells, they undergo meiosis and they form the spores. Now these spores, they germinate to give rise to the gametophyte. Let us see that once again. The sporophyte is a main plant body. It consists of sporophyll. The sporophyll consists of the sporangia. The sporangia consists of the spore mother cell. The spore mother cell undergo reduction division to form the spores. And the spores give rise to the gametophyte. To say about this gametophyte, these may be multicellular. They are the multicellular free-living, mostly photosynthetic gametophyte called prothallus. So this is the peculiarity here. In sporophyte, both the gametophyte and the sporophyte are independent. That is, here the gametophyte is a different structure, and it is called prothallus. So we have a term here called strobili. What is strobili? Sometimes in case of these sporophylls may form distinct compact structures called strobili or cones. Like in Selaginella and Equisetum, they form a cone-like structure. These leaf. So we now have the prothallus here. Now this prothallus is the gametophyte part. Now this gametophyte consists of antheridia and archegonia. So the same cycle is coming here. Here a specialty is that water is required for the transfer of these gametes. So as a result, they are having a limited growth, and they can be seen only in some geographical areas. So the antheridia and the archegonia, so the transfer of gametes occurs, and the zygote is produced. The zygote then again develops into sporophytes. Now we have to see about the spores. The spores that are produced, they may be homosporous. Like in most of the cases, all the spores produced will be of the same type. Otherwise, we have heterosporous. Heterosporous means there will be two types of spores that are produced. One is the macrospore and other one is the microspore. Macrospores germinate into the female gametophyte, and the microspore they germinate into the male gametophyte. So this is called heterosporous, and it is seen in Salvinia and Selaginella. Another important event is that the female gametes in such plants are retained on the parent sporophyte for further development. I mean, female gametophytes. The female gametophytes are retained on the parent sporophyte. So, the development of the zygotes into young embryos will take place within the female gametophyte. So, this event is a part of the seed habit that is considered an important step in evolution. So let us see the life cycle of these sporophytes once again. Pteridophyta. You can see that adult sporophyte. It consists of leaf-like structure called sporophyll, and the sporophyll consists of sporangium. The sporangium consists of the spore mother cell that forms the spore. Now the spore divides to form the young gametophyte. The young gametophyte then becomes the mature gametophyte. It consists of antheridium and an archegonium. Transfer of gamete occurs and it results in the formation of a zygote. The zygote then forms the embryo and it forms the young sporophyte again. Okay. So this is the life cycle. The main difference between Bryophyta and Pteridophyta is that in Bryophyta the main plant body is gametophyte, but in Pteridophyta it is the main plant body sporophyte. In Bryophyta, the sporophyte is not an independent structure. It is dependent upon the gametophyte. But in case of Pteridophyta, both are independent structures. They do not depend on each other. So now we are going to go through the classes of Pteridophyta. It can be divided into four. First one is Coelopsida, example Coelotum. Lycopsida, example Selaginella and Lycopodium. Sphenopsida, example Equisetum. And Pteropsida, example Dryopteris, Pteris and Adiantum. So here we have come to an end of Pteridophyta. So thank you.